Good morning. I wanted to update following my kind of rant recording from last week when I've sort of discovered a few things about CIC running and the cost of them and things like that. Following on from what I was saying about having chatted to the accountant and seeing the prices of accountancy software and accounting in general, and the other things that I was like, oh, I wish I'd known this earlier. I then went to add an extra signatory on my Monzo, well, not mine, on Wakey Arts' Monzo bank account. And it says, I mean, this is probably pure naivety from me. I've not really ever worked in the financial world. Well, I've never worked in the financial world. Banking and things like that. I'm very like, probably opened a current account when I was 11 and never really knew that you could switch accounts for gains and things like that. I've only kind of learnt that through my husband, who works in finance, but he sort of leads me to it because he also knows I'm very independent. So yeah, I haven't really kind of ever dabbled around and moved money around and things like that to gain money, or I've learnt like the banking, the benefits of different things like that. So anyway, that's a tangent. I went to add a team member as a signatory because that's what you need to be able to get funding from some places. And it said, oh, you can't do that in your Monzo Lite business account. You need to upgrade to a team business account, which will cost £9 a month. And it's like, this is purely like a tick box exercise. Of course it's to support governance, but it's not going to change the work that I'm doing. That's all happening anyway, and I'm doing it very honestly. So and I'm doing it well, which is why I've moved from sole trader to CIC. Like, it's going well. I'm trying to make it more formal, more official, and be able to move forward with more funding from different, like a bigger range of funders. But now it will cost, or was it 9 times 12, so 19.99, so £108 to just purely to get a signature in the bank account. So I've started looking around at different bank accounts to see if I can switch, which might be able to give some sort of switch benefit, cash back, but then that sort of holds you at like free banking for X amount of time, then it goes to standard tariff, and I'm like, I don't really know what those costs are going to be, and then I might be in a position where I'm paying £15 a month. So part of me is just thinking, suck it up and just pay the £9 a month. It's really not a big deal, which is also what my husband said. But part of me is like, well, I'm now not for profit, so that money that I put in, because I haven't got reserves, because we've discussed the fact that I haven't got funding up front for core, that will come from my money that I then can't get back out of the company because it's a CIC. So this is such a interesting discovery period. Yeah, and it really surprised me again. Just another thing that I'm like, well, now it's really adding up. I'm now sort of thinking that I'll do web filing myself, but I might pay a nominal fee to have good software so that it helps with the accounting. I might divide my sole trader work and the CIC work quite I might do it myself and not sort of hand it over to an accountant. I think I can probably keep it clear if I just really think about maintaining that sole trader work rather than putting everything under Wakey Arts. At the moment, I spoke to a coach yesterday, an arts coach, for like a free consultation, just to see his kind of invitation was, have a free half-hour chat with me. I'll help you grow your numbers for classes. So he comes from a very, from what I understand, like dance, drama, music school type vibe. Bodies in the room equals money. More bodies, the better. The more hours you can be in a space, the better, because then it's more money and the profits, blah blah blah. So he's like proper profit-driven, target-driven businessman in the arts, which is such an interesting person to talk to. But I can't work that way, because we started going down a route of, well, can you get 20 children in a room? And I'm like, yeah, but what about the parents? And he's like, what parents? And I'm like, well, I run toddler classes, the parents are always there. And then he said, basically, you don't pay for your time, so you might be there for X amount. You've got the room hire, and then you've got the fees that are coming in from the young people to offset the room hire, and then this is your profit. And I said, well, what about your time? And he said, well, that is your profit. And I thought, well, that's difficult though, isn't it? Because of young people, the more children, like young early years you have, the more assistance you then need. So you will be paying for time in some way or another. and I also don't have that much time. So ultimately, the more classes I run, the likelihood is I'll be paying for teachers to deliver on my behalf, which I'm not against. So I need to sort of look into that. But it was a really interesting call, and a different kind of angle, thinking about money and things. So I'm kind of realising, and then he kind of was talking about one-to-ones and group coaching and stuff, and I thought, what you're doing and what you're talking about no doubt would be helpful because of his knowledge of running a business in the arts sector and being very commercially viable and making profit. And he does this in London, so obviously the risk is greater. He obviously has more money, like there is more money being dealt with in order to hire spaces in London to begin with and stuff. So, and the return must be like fees must be higher and things like that to reflect that. So no doubt he would be a very interesting person to talk to and be coached by. But also I think that there is a gap in the market then for people who are running like charitable social impact businesses with early years, so that you can't just like add a load more people in a room, because it's not safe to do that. Something he did say was, if you can't add more people in a room because you want it to be more intimate, high quality, then you sell it as a luxury opportunity and you charge like £10 for them to come, which was interesting, because at the moment I'm doing like pay what you can to get, because the people I want in the room are the ones that might not be able to afford it otherwise. So yeah, there's like it is interesting, and I think what I'm going to do is probably invest in the £9 a month to have signatory on the bank account, invest in the software to support with the accounting, and probably do a business course or something rather than paying somebody else. And I'm sure he's full of expert knowledge, but I'm not sure it is quite lining up with what I'm doing or running the CIC. And I also think that documenting it for other people is really handy, because if I had a podcast like this to listen to, then I would be listening to it. So or like, a course to do that's niche like this. Like, I'm not the only person that's doing this. So yeah, it's been interesting anyway. From a director side of things, I had so I've got 2 brilliant people on the board, and then I had a third person who sort of covers finance, who was going to be on the board, but she is like one of my best friends, so she was there to sort of support me in having the right number of people on a board to support governance and things like that. I know she'd be really active in the chat and really helpful, but she's not really, as she put it, in a stage of her life where she would be looking for this opportunity if she wasn't doing it to help me out. And actually, because I went to her and said, look, a third person's come forward, so I actually have enough people if you want to sort of step back. So she has stepped back, and this other person would bring a wealth of knowledge. They're more senior than me in their career, so actually having that person to sort of really help guide if they can, as well as, and be like a font of knowledge rather than kind of learning alongside me, which is absolutely fine, and I'm all for that and really happy to have a board with both types of people on. But I kind of I hadn't expected to have somebody who is more senior than me, like generally, and more experienced than me, but that would be really, really helpful. So yeah, I've invited, 2 of them are now official directors, one of them is just onboarding, and then I have reached out to the mental health support team who I partner with. I haven't yet heard back from anybody, but I sort of put it out there, and I've also asked an early years specialist, so there might be a couple more to bring that kind of knowledge, but otherwise we're all set and ready to move forward, which is really exciting. It's just an absolute learning curve, and I'm now driving to Blackfield, which is it's in Hampshire, on the waterside, really near all my family, to go and meet the team for some new work that I'm doing, and it's really casual. It's basically launching somebody else's project, I think, or like the culmination of it, or conclusion of it. It's like being at the launch of this place, which will then give me a chance to meet the team. I was supposed to be at a team meeting this morning, but it's moved to this kind of event because of the date just being right for everybody, and I accidentally booked some training in early years, like improvisation and play, which I was really excited about. But I thought it was yesterday, but it's actually today, so I've had to miss that. So yeah, that's where I'm off to now. So it's a bit odd because it won't be wakey arts work, but this kind of work will sort of see me through, and will also keep my sole trader stuff alive, I guess, which is this strange limbo thing I'm in, where I thought I was going to go completely under the CIC with all the work that I'm doing, because it's all sort of health related, arts related, but this work isn't youth related necessarily, and I also need to keep the sole trader side of things going if I'm going to expand the classes and things like that, and put my own money in. But you can't be a limited company, so how you then formalise that side of things? You can't be a limited company. You can't have, I don't think you can have a limited company and then a limited company that's a security interest company. I think you have to just be one, but you're allowed to be one and a sole trader. Weird. Anyway, I will feedback or come and record when I next have an update in this very strange world that I'm inhabiting at the moment. Right, I hope that was helpful and interesting. Any questions, let me know, and I will always seek to find the answers, because actually if you have questions, I probably should have those questions as well, or I might have got the answers by the time that this video goes anywhere. So yeah, anyway, speak to you soon. Bye. Hello again. I'm not there yet. I just had some extra thoughts to add. One is that something else that the coach said was that it's all about mindset. So like, he was putting things forward and I was very much like, yeah, but that didn't work because, and that didn't work because. And he said, I know that if I move to Bournemouth now, thousands and thousands of children, he did grow up in Bournemouth, so he does know that Bournemouth, he does know what it's like, but I do think there's a little bit of like lack of knowledge about the current climate and other things that are existing for the age group I'm delivering to. But anyway, he said, I know that if I walked into a room I could get 30 kids tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And he said, it's all in the mindset. And I thought, yeah, fair enough. Like, I'm not saying that, like, obviously I thought I was being realistic in my countering and in the way that I operate, but potentially I'm being pessimistic, and that's not very helpful. So that's something that's just made me think, oh, I need to potentially adjust my mindset slightly, rather than like problem. And I know, to be honest, to a degree, this kind of recording is me going, I didn't know this, damn it, blah, 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 blah. I didn't know this as well, and sort of I'm quite problem orientated in this kind of recording, but that's not the intention. It's more that I'm learning things and I'm trying to share them, but maybe I am pessimistic, like I'm open-minded to that being a barrier to me growing classes and things. I think I'm quite I don't know if shy is the right word, but kind of introverted by nature as well. So I don't really like walking into a room and becoming the centre of attention, or saying like, oh, I'm gonna get this amount of people because I'm amazing. Like, I'm always kind of worried that it looks like I think I'm amazing. So yeah, that was one thing that I just wanted to feedback, was about mindset, which might be interesting or helpful for people to know. And then the other thing was that so things are sort of feeling like they're falling into place, because I've got this 1k funding from Born Free to do the Wiggles and Giggles classes at Barrington Centre. I had a really good meeting with them last week, that they'll start in sort of early springtime, but just by chance the Culture and Community Fund from Dorset Council was opened back up for round 10, which for round 8 and 9 I was really interested in, but I couldn't go for because we weren't at CIC. So now I am. I'm like, yes, I'll go for them. If I get 5k with them for the Wiggles and Giggles work in Ferndown, which they were really interested in, then that would be 6k match funding to put with an Arts Council application for like 80k. And then I've also got the existing commission like remaining from Fluid Motion, so I've got kind of enough match funding to look quite good for an 80k project. So I was like, okay, this is good timing. This is now like the right doors are opening, the right things are happening. So I started looking into making that application yesterday, and I started to shape what a budget could look like. And then I was reading all of the eligibility criteria, and it was like, must be incorporated, must have bank account, multiple board members that aren't related, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, that's fine, got all that. And then it said, if recently incorporated, you need to have more than 1 year of accounts, otherwise you can only apply for 1,500. And I was like, oh, that's so frustrating, because I had been running for a number of years, I just haven't been incorporated for a number of years, and I've been running in a not-for-profit way. So So it's like, oh, for goodness sake, another, like, in your first year you're supposed to like keep small, and I wonder if that's what they're doing now. Can't be, I don't know. Don't know if that's where I'm supposed to go. Yeah, it's just another example of like being slightly limited in that first year of, sorry, I'm just checking to see if that's the person that no, it's not. Yeah, in the first year of being a CIC, basically, even though it's a progression from the size of the company I was before. So yeah, baffling. More bafflement, if that's a word. But anyway, I'm nearly there, and I just wanted to add those two things on, so I hope that's useful, and I will share more soon. All right, cheers, bye.